All right, at this time, we are live on Defcon Clark with the one and only Johnny Hiland.
What is going on, my brother?
So let me tell you how I advertised for this. I created a link for this video, and basically I was like, well, how can I label Johnny Hiland for a video title? And I came up with a phrase. Feel free to take it. It's all you, anyways. It is the Kiesel artist, chicken picking guitarist, Johnny Hiland.
Well, man, that's perfect. I appreciate that, brother. I really do.
So, welcome to the channel. We are engaged worldwide in a quarantine. So, I'm streaming from my house. Thank you very much for taking your time for this from your house as well.
Very
And
glad to, brother. Very glad to do it.
so, how are all things with Johnny Hiland right now?
Man, I guess the best way for me to describe that is blessed. I know we're all suffering with the quarantine for, COVID-19. It's a very, very serious virus that's gone around. And of course, we've lost the great Joe Diffie in Nashville from it, John Prime. Of course, Mr. Ray Benson from Asleep at the Wheel, I guess, has got it. There's a lot of amazing people that have it, and I guess it's not a respecter of persons, man. It will knock you down. It's a very real virus, that's for sure.
Well, this time of year, there are a lot of social interactions that take place for you've got the Dallas Guitar Festival coming up, Sweetwater's got Gear Fest, Summer NAMM's coming up, all these things coming up, and slowly but surely they're being taken away from us because of quarantine, like these people. And it's not as serious as it is by losing a person, don't get me wrong. um, for health reasons though, Summer NAMM has been officially canceled, and there's not really much you can do about that.
No, sir, there's not. And I guess, Clark, the way I look at it, brother, is as much as we love Summer NAMM, and of course I get to see the Kiesel boys and go to the booth and play and have fun. It's and of course to see a lot of fans and friends. We're better off being safe in our homes, doing what doctors and of course folks on the news, President Trump, to really do what they're telling us to do by washing our hands. I know my hands, man, are like really, really dry from washing my hands so much.
Hmm.
But we have to just follow the best directions that we are given and stay at home and be safe from this thing. So
Yeah.
that's exactly what I'm doing, and I'm glad to see that everybody is following suit. And all you guitar players, it's the best time in the world to be at home, create new music, practice your butts off, and make the best of this, even though it's a very serious and bad situation.
Yeah, that's very true. Environments such as NAMM, if for anyone who's never been to a NAMM show, you your privacy bubble is the non-existent. Um,
Pretty much.
you're gonna be walking close to people. You'll run into people you never even thought you'd see on
Yes.
occasion, especially at the Winter NAMM show. Because there's more people who attend that. But it, yeah, there's a concept called Namthrax,
Oh, yes.
and it's very real. Um, but aside that, I mean, that's just close quarters, cold, sinus stuff and everything else, and it could be a little bit more. But yeah, so I'm kind of disappointed because I was looking forward to Summer NAMM. But hey, at least I get to.
Planning on hooking up at Summer NAMM, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was gonna be great, man. So we'll have to wait. Maybe Winter NAMM.
Yeah, well, if they have Winter NAMM, I know, depending on how things go, I guess is the best way to look at that.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. It was. Um, I know by the end of this past Winter NAMM, day 4, I could speak, but I was a bit hoarse, so I had a cough for a couple weeks after that. Thankfully, it was nothing more than a cough, but it was enough to irritate me. Either
Well,
way,
I got sick after Winter NAMM, and this was the first Winter NAMM I had attended in quite a few years. So I kind of predicted that I was going to get it before I even left the house. So
yeah. Well, it's funny too as we're talking about hand washing and being safe. I've got Germix right here, uh,
and I
on
don't
my
blame.
on my desk. um, So, you speaking of Winter Nam though, you were there in support of actually, and I know you were there supporting two different companies in particular. First of all, was as your hat suggests, Kiesel Guitars. I know you played
Oh,
there a few times.
yes, I did, man. And I honestly, Clark, I'm so blessed to be a part of the Kiesel Guitars family, man, as an artist with them. And of course, I thank Jeff Kiesel and all the Kiesel family for just having me on board with them. I know a lot of people have made some pretty crude comments over the years about me jumping gear and jumping companies and whatnot. You know, folks, all I'll say in reference to that is sometimes the business gets in the way of reality. And that goes for artists, especially like myself. I moved to Nashville in 1996 with $98 in my pocket, and I literally relied on endorsers to help me get my artistry going, and still do to this day. I'm not a wealthy man at all. Have no bones about it, and have no bones about sharing it with everybody. It's a hard industry to be in. So, but I will say, having the Kiesel family and their support is more than any artist could be blessed with, man. I find that their guitars are the best handcrafted USA made guitars on planet Earth, and for the best price for the customer, man. And I stand by that as an artist with them. I think they are the best in the entire world, and of course they are made here right in Escondido, California. So, but they are a family-run company, and of course they've just treated this whole country boy real good, man. So I've been very blessed to be a part of the Kiesel family, and of course I'll be with them till the day I die. I have no intentions of going anywhere. So if you haven't got a J86 Johnny model yet, you need to get you one.
I knew that was coming.
Yep.
They had a Rainbow Sparkle, a black Rainbow Sparkle one on the website. You'd mentioned that I think on your Facebook live stream at Johnny
Yes.
Hiland Official, and
Yeah,
I went back and took a look at it. It is sharp.
it is, man. I tell you what, man. Well, I'll share this, Clark. I got this puppy after the NAM show, and it's probably going to be in reverse.
Oh no, it's right.
But it is a silver sparkle Johnny Hiland model with the new roasted maple neck. And oh, buddy, let me tell you, that thing is sexier than socks on a rooster. That's all I can say about it. It's like Don Rich on modern day steroids, brother. That's what it is. So love, love, love that guitar so much.
Yeah. It, it, I've I've got a big history with Carvin and Kiesel.
Yes.
Um, I was able to meet Jeff at the NAM show. And I'll go ahead and say this: it's kind of hard to sometimes meet people at the NAM show because it's a
Yeah.
trade show. So many people are busy. They're talking. They're trying to make deals and sell stuff, you know.
Right.
And so I was that guy that was standing and waiting.
Right.
And it's kind of like, am I being creepy or am I being polite? But
I don't know, man, because I think that's what NAM's all about. You kind of do have to stand in line and wait your turn, and hopefully you can get a chance to meet somebody.
mhm.
But it's hard. It really is.
Well, I met Jeff. I told him the brief history, and I'll mention the brief history here of me with Carvin. My dad lived in San Diego for many years,
Mm-hmm.
and at the time, obviously, Carvin was in San Diego, and they were making guitars, amps, and all kinds of other stuff.
Yes.
So he had bought a Carvin acoustic, Cobalt acoustic, which he
Yep.
later gave to me,
No.
and he had a Carvin Bel Air 50-watt 2x12 amplifier, which was the best tube amp I'd ever played in my life, but sadly I don't have them anymore.
Ah.
Um, but anyway, so now I have my Carvin AE 185, which I'll get here in just a minute. I have a
Mm-hmm.
Carvin Cobalt down here for my acoustic stuff,
Right.
and I have my own JH6.
Ha! Look at that. Boy, I know you got that, girl. And I must say, man, one thing I want folks to know when I say handcrafted, guys, look, yes, okay, you know, the bodies and necks are cut on a CNC and stuff, but there are a lot of there's a lot of hand sanding and stuff that goes into making a Kiesel guitar. And I got to say, all of the folks that work in the Kiesel factory, man, are family to me too. I mean, they're so hands-on in making the absolute best guitars on planet Earth, and my hat's off to them. Really, it's amazing the quality and craftsmanship that Kiesel puts into their guitars.
I'd like to take a quick second here to welcome two people into the chat. Chad Boston is tuning in from Washington, and Michael Engel is is viewing right now from Denmark.
Oh, very cool.
They didn't actually put that in the comments. I just happen to know where they're at.
Oh, that's very cool, man.
So we're talking Kiesel guitars. And a lot of people probably know the story of PRS, Steve Vai 7-string,
Oh,
then Ernie Ball for many years. I have a couple of Ernie Ball Music Man guitars. They're phenomenal. But Kiesel is where you've made your home right now.
yes.
Um, how it, the Johnny Hiland model started off um, basically as a modded solo, a
Yes.
modded Kiesel solo.
Mm-hmm.
And if I remember correctly, one of the early models was basically a solo that had been fitted with your custom pickups,
That's
your 6-shooters.
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
then
my six-shooter singles used to be made by Billy Magella of Electric City Pickups, and of course, Billy ended up with some health issues, and of course, the company was basically going under because of that. And so he actually called Jeff and said, "Man, I'd love to just, I know Johnny's with you now, and I'd love to just give you guys the formula for the pickups." And so now they are made in house by Kiesel now. And I will just say, as fussy as I am with pickups, Clark, Kiesel nailed. I mean, absolutely nailed uh, the 6-shooter single sound first go around. I have a red Johnny model exactly like yours. We're pretty close to it. That I got from Summer NAMM last year because they had the very first set that Kiesel had built. And they said, "Man, we want you to go home and listen to them, compare them to your old ECPs, let us know what we need to do to improve on them or whatever, or make changes, whatever." Man, they were so identical. I just called them up and said, "Guys, I'm sorry. I'm going to end up having to buy this guitar or get it from you or something because it's so spot on. It's retarded." So they nailed them, man. They really did. They made me very proud with that. And of course, Billy's legacy lives on with the 6-shooter still being a part of the JH6.
now was that you that the guitar you're mentioning there, that's the red one that was actually hanging on display there at the NAMM show, right?
Summer NAMM, yeah.
Um, I wanted that guitar so bad. Of course, I've got one similar to it.
Yeah.
The only difference I think is the radius on yours is 14 inches, while mine's the stock 10.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I normally go with a stock 10, Clark. And I think what's funny is since being with the Kiesel family, Jeff has definitely been teaching me about different radius fretboards. From coming up through the ranks, loving, old Telecasters and country music and this, that, and the other, I was not very familiar with, obviously, like a Les Paul has a 12. And of course, some of the more modern day rock guitars all had like 14s and 16s and sometimes even 20. But I don't own a lot of those guitars. And so I was used to the common T style radiuses that are most common with the guitar that we won't mention. But anyway, that was outside of my Aries, I could not imagine a JH6 with a 14-inch radius. And oh, dude, I can't put that little guitar down. Even having my Silver Sparkle, which is my absolute favorite, and my Whitewash, that little red one, man, is taking its place as my number one right now, really, because I just can't stop playing that 14.
yeah, as a matter of fact, I'll check this out. I just went to the Kiesel website here, um, and let's see here if I can get it to pull up. Well, it had you on there as the first one of them. I guess it cycles through all that.
Oh, I think it does, yeah. But here again, Clark, I'm gonna be honest, man. Ooh, I think that's the Delos right there, right? Yeah, yeah.
kind of wish I had two monitors right now.
What, who's that up there now, Clark?
Huh?
Who was that up there? Was that Ledford?
I think so. So I'm gonna go over here to guitars in stock, and I'm gonna see if that um, rainbow is still in there.
There you go.
Because I really, I mean, I just, yeah, there's no way around it. I really wanted that guitar. Um,
Well, I think it is still in stock if I'm not mistaken.
Here we go. That's it right there.
Yeah.
Let me try to zoom in a little bit on that.
And you know what I think is unique about that guitar too, Clark, is that I think it's an alder body and not a swamp ash.
Oh, let's see here. Custom finish, bird's eye maple. Where's the body option? I'm trying to look on here.
Yeah, it's too small for me, buddy. I apologize.
Oh, no worries.
Being the old legally blind honky tonker, man, it's just a little too small for me.
No worries. I'm not seeing it on here, but
I think if you go back to the original page listing,
oh yeah,
one of the first things that you see.
all right. So this is custom finish bird's eye maple. You know, it doesn't say.
Doesn't say. Huh.
But either way, it is a beautiful guitar.
And those rainbow sparkles. See, if I'm not mistaken, Jeff had done a run of rainbow sparkle guitars, and of course, I was tickled to death that they did the JH6 in it. But yeah, it's not sold yet. I'm very surprised by that. But it's beautiful, man. It really is.
Yeah. The whole thing about it is when you have the sparkles on it, is the light reflecting off of it, and you can get the different, glistening effect and stuff like that.
And I will say, folks, Kiesel does one of the best sparkle finishes I've ever seen in my life. I mean, even my silver one is just, pictures do not do it justice. That's for sure.
Yeah, sometimes cameras really, or video kind of doesn't do it justice either, because it's one of those things, like, if you look at a roasted maple or a style of roasted maple, and it does kind of like that holographic effect when you move it.
Yeah.
The video sometimes doesn't really catch it too well.
No.
So the Johnny Hiland, the JH6 from Kiesel Guitars, was originally released with 5 different colors.
Yep.
And so we've got whiskey brown, whitewash. Talk me through these because I can't remember off the top of my head. Royal blue.
Aurora.
Aurora blue.
Yep. Then there is antique ash.
Mm-hmm.
And scarlet red.
Yep. And I do believe mine's a scarlet red.
Yep.
I have a little issue with color blindness, so.
Yes, yours is a beautiful scarlet red, I must say.
Yeah. The only thing that I've done to this, because everything on it's stock except for the strap locks. I put Dunlop strap locks on it, which is the
Tyler S locks on mine.
Mm-hmm. And I've just been using these for a long time, and yeah, I did get this guitar used, so I got a good price on it, I think.
Great.
And the one thing that I've noticed, because I come from the heavier riffage type
right.
stuff, so I'm a humbucker kind of guy. I like, medium to high output, preferably medium output pickups, and a really tight gain sound from an amp. And a friend of mine has got another T-style guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him about some of the settings that I had done with, an Axe-Fx and a Helix and stuff like that. And he's like, yep. And he said the best phrase ever when it comes to this. And you do this on your live stream too. But you can get nasty with these things.
Oh, yeah, man.
You can get brutal.
Buddy, that bridge pickup is 10.25K. I mean, it's got some snap to it. The thing I love about my 6-shooter singles, though, is they still have all the twang you could ever want.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can be a diehard chicken picker, or if I mean, man, I play several genres of music myself, so I wanted a pickup that could virtually do it all, and I think those do very well.
Yeah, it's really awesome, really awesome.
Right.
Let me grab that other carving real quick. I'll be right back. Hang on.
Sure. Well, folks, I'm just so tickled to be on here with Clark. We actually got to know each other through a lesson we did one time, and did we meet before that, Clark? I'm not sure.
Um, yes.
Good.
Are you talking about like in person or?
Yeah, like did we meet at a NAM show or anything prior to our first lesson we did?
Yeah, so here is here's that. Summer Nam 2016. I went with revivedpicks.com
Yep.
and you were there with Gator Cases. So I met you then. Just
Yep.
briefly, just in passing, got a picture with you. Then at the Summer Nam show we were just talking about last year, I met you then. At the Kiesel booth actually. This was on Saturday, the last day. Saturday? Yeah, Saturday's the last was the last day of NAM, Saturday, Sunday, whenever it was.
Yeah, I think it was Saturday.
And so we met then, and then of course, I tuned into the live streams and stuff like that, and got a lesson with you. This last NAM show, which was before the lesson, I ran
Right.
into you at the Keeley booth,
Yeah,
which
and that was so cool. I think it was my
yeah,
birthday.
it was your birthday that day. Um, uh, but I'll get to the Keeley story in just a second. Here's the carving.
Ooh, man, that is beautiful. Whoa, that is really, really nice.
Now the thing about this guitar, the AE 185, they still make it. They've changed it a little bit now. They've got a 5-way blade instead of a 3-way switch, and a
Right.
couple other things. I think they rearranged it a little bit. Um, but I had one of those as well with all my other carving stuff, and
Right.
situation happened, and I don't have them anymore. But because my house burnt down. But
Oh, love you, brother.
yeah, so I told myself if I ever find a blue one, just like similar to the one I had, I was gonna buy it. I found it and I bought it. So
Go.
um, but yeah, so the day at NAM was interesting because I day one basically I was just getting lost. I didn't know where where I was at or what I was doing hardly.
Yeah.
And then day two I ran into Jeff Kiesel, and
Hmm.
then somehow I kid you not stumbled across the Keeley booth. And so the guys at Keeley and I were talking about it. I mentioned that I have the sweet spot. Um, Not this one, of course, but the gold one. The gold one's on my pedal board right now.
Nice.
And so we were talking about gear and stuff like that. That reminds me, I got to send that guy an email. But anyways, it was awesome. We were talking about, we had mentioned about you, obviously, because this is your signature pedal.
Yes.
And then I turned around and there you were with TJ Armstrong.
Yes.
And it's the thing about the NAM shows is you really don't know if you're not intentionally going after something, an intentional meeting, you don't
Right.
know who you're going to run into.
That's very true, man. Very true. In reference to the Keeley, man, I love Robert Keeley. And I'll say this, man. I think the Keeley family reminds me a lot of Keeley in just in the way that they treat their folks that work within the company, but also the way they treat their fans. And I think that's just one of the main reasons I love working with Robert Keeley and all the boys, man. They're just very, very good family oriented company, and very, very proud to have the Sweet Spot Super Drive with them. And we did a Johnny Hiland limited run of a cosmetic change of the Memphis Sun back a year and a half ago or so. So yeah, man, I've done some great things with Robert Keeley and the guys, and it's just fantastic folks, man. I think that's really what I'm going for these days is working with people that are very family oriented, because that's the kind of guy I am, and I just love working with good folks.
Oh yeah, I can definitely understand that.
Yeah.
Um, the sweet spot. I think you had told an anecdote about Robert Keeley asking you what could he do to get you to use an overdrive permanent on your board, and
Yep.
then a one-time go, the sweet spot was born.
Yeah, it was amazing, Clark, how that happened too, buddy. Man, I just told him on the phone one day. I said, brother, I said, I'd love to find a pedal that is a dirt pedal that T-style players would fall in love with, because most commonly, if you're a T-style player, you go to the store, you grab the go-tos, the Tube Screamer, the Blues Driver, the this, the that, the other. There's hundreds of amazing, dirt pedals. But I said, man, it almost seems like you have to just take your T-style and whatever amp you're running and get used to the sound of that pedal. And I said, unfortunately, some pedals really work great with T-styles and some do not. And so I said, man, I'd really, really love to do a pedal that really works well with a T-style. And of course, he knows of the JH6, and I do believe that Robert Keeley himself ordered a JH6. So
Yes, he mentioned that on a live stream one time for on Facebook.
so cool. But but yeah, it was amazing, man. When the very first prototype he sent me of that pedal, I just called him up and said, "You nailed it! It's amazing, dude. Don't change a thing." So he read my mind completely.
There's a few different. I mean, when it comes to the use of this pedal, it's a low gain overdrive or just a little bit more grit to it because it's got two different drive configurations on there for that switch. And I use it on the lower gain setting, probably drive around 9 o'clock or so, and I EQ and level the taste. And this opens up, like the Helix or something like that. It gives, I actually use it with an HX Stomp, a little baby Helix,
Oh,
and
cool.
this takes the tone to a different level. It's hard to replicate something like this in the Helix because this is this is a, technically a 2-off because there's 2 runs of it.
Yep.
And but anyway, so this just adds so much characteristic to it. Now, another way that's cool to use it that I found with stuff like that is to turn it on the little more grit section, turn the drive up about to noon, and then you can just roll your volume back a little bit, and it'll clean up.
See, well, Clark, that's great, bud, because you definitely know how to use the pedal properly. It's, I think it's just something that you have to get used to and try. Uh, just try it, have fun with it. And I really wanted to design the pedal to where it would be fun to use in any setting, which I think the pedal offers that. But you're right, you'll find those two favorite spots, and that's why I called it the sweet spot super drive. Because as I was talking to Robert, I said, man, you've nailed that sweet spot, man. It's just that's my sweet spot in dirt tone, man. And so he laughed and he said, man, that's what we need to name this. So
Yeah,
pretty cool.
it's a unique pedal. I mean, I bought 2 because, well, why not? But
Well, and I thank you for that, brother.
it's got a JH in the top corner here, and then it's got the Johnny Hiland signature down here in the bottom, which is
Oh
also
yeah.
on the Kiesel. Um, and this is one of those pedals that I just leave on all the time on my pedal board.
That is
Um,
so cool.
the other neat must-have pedal for me on my small pedal. Well, I say small pedal board. It's not really too small, but
Right.
is the Keeley Compressor Plus.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I bought it. I didn't even. I mean, I'd heard demos of it, but I never played one in person. I was like, let me just try that out, and I bought it, and it's on the board. It's always on,
Yep, mine is too. Mine is.
and it's just the drive pedal. I'm using a snake oil drive pedal from basically from Chapman Guitars, and it doesn't sound good unless this is in front of it and the compressor's in front of that. It just
Oh
doesn't. Well, at least for how I want it to sound. I mean, you can get
well,
good sounds from it, but
yeah. Well, but I think that's the real cool thing in tone is that you can start crafting and start messing with things until you finally hit that spot where you go, yes, that's it.
yep. I want to say Michael Engel had mentioned that he used to own one of your PRS signature guitars.
Right.
He said he liked it, but it wasn't Stratty enough for him. And he said he would love to try one of these, and I'm sure he's talking about the JH6.
Well, brother, it's a lot more affordable, and yes, you will not put this guitar down. It's like Man, I always tell folks, everybody has the joke of how many guitars does a guitarist need? Oh, just one more, right?
That's right.
Well, the fact of the matter is, man, when you get a Johnny Hiland JH6, and I'm not saying this because it's my signature guitar, and it's number one, it's a Kiesel, and that's the common fact. Number two, it's like a very heavy addiction. You put it in your hands and you start playing, and you don't stop playing. And that is literally what my JH6 has done for me. And I've heard that from a lot of people that own one now. And that is the biggest and best compliment I could ever get as an artist that literally just took Kiesel's Solo, which is an amazing guitar, by the way, and just, modified it enough to make it my own. And so I'm so proud of that guitar, man. And yeah, man, if you're on the fence, brother, just order it. Just do it. Take the plunge like Clark did, man. You'll be glad you did.
Yeah, I had never played it either, but I knew the quality of Kiesel.
Oh
You know,
yes.
their guitars are great quality. Now, I will say for anyone watching, here's the difference between the Solo and the JH6 is part of it's right here because the Solo has it traditionally. You have your volume, tone, and then your selector right off to the side, and this one is just underneath it, and so you can switch pickups while you're adjusting your tone at the same time.
Well, but you also notice too, Clark, that the volume and tone knob have been moved up, so that, and when I say up, I'm referring to forward. On the standard Solo, the knobs are back closer to the end of the body, like a standard T-style would be, with the switch in the front of it.
Mm-hmm.
Where the Johnny model, we move the knobs up closer, a little closer to the pickups, and so basically from the bridge pickups angle, the volume knob is right directly under that and down a wee bit, so your pinky finger can grab it easily, and then you can flip the switch at the same time.
Yeah, one of the oh man, don't you hate it when you had something in your mind and then it just completely go blank? Um,
You know what they call that, Clark?
CRS.
No, a brain.
Uh,
Only
very
right here on
true.
the channel, brother.
That's right. The other, I remember what it is now. That sound made me remember it. The wiring is different on this,
Yes.
and
Yeah. I'll explain how, man. It's actually 1, 3, and 5, bridge, middle, and neck are all like a standard T-style would be. Second position is like the second position Strat tone, and the fourth position is just the middle pickup by itself, which would mean like a middle Strat kind of sound.
mm-hmm.
So what I like about that and the way that we did the wiring is that position 1 is your bridge, 2 is your Albert Lee, Steve Warner, telly tones, and then of course for a Strat it would give you like that Mark Knopfler thing. Position 3 would be like the middle of a T-style, so it's the mid telly tone. Fourth position is the middle Strat tone, and then of course your neck pickup in the fifth position. And the neck pickup very much sounds a little more Hendrixy and Strat-ish than what a common spongy kind of telly tone would be with a lipstick. So it's very versatile, man. Very good setup.
How long? I mean, you've had that type of wiring for years. How long did it take for you to get to that point where you're like, maybe I should just adjust the wiring a little bit to suit how I want it to sound?
Man, I give all the credit in the world to my dear friend, Mr. Matt Martin, who used to run a company called Martin Six String Customs. And of course, I had a Johnny Hiland signature harness with them. But he was the first guy to sit me down and say, man, I notice you don't use your fourth position much in your 5-way. And I'm like, I never use it. And he said, well, why, man? I said, I just don't like the tone of it. I've never really used the fourth position much. It doesn't reach out and grab me. That tone doesn't pull me in. And I said, so yeah, I feel like I have a 4-position guitar instead of 5. And he said, well, man, if you could change that, what would you do? And I said, well, I don't know, man. And he said, well, what's a tone off any other guitar in the world that you've played that you would actually put in that fourth position? And I said, well, being an SRV lover and a blues player too, I would probably go with a middle strat tone and then be able to flip right to my neck to do the blues solos and that kind of thing. And where on a T style guitar, I would have the bridge in the middle that I use most with that Albert Lee and Steve Wariner kind of second position strat tone. So I was very happy with all three of those sounds, but 4 and 5 were just not happening. So we did. We made the fourth position, the middle strat pickup by itself, and then of course going into the fifth position, which is your standard neck pickup. But I give all the credit in the world to Mr. Matt Martin, man. He was the guy that really brought that. Hey, man, you can make that sound anything you want it to be. And I was like, I had no clue. So yeah, Matt Martin, if you're watching this, brother, thank you so much for making my guitar as effective for me as humanly possible. So Martin Six String Customs did that for me.
It's interesting. Sometimes it just takes a quick conversation
It
to
does.
to spark, a big change, and it's just amazing some of the things that you can do from just simply, hey, I'm curious, you're not da 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 da, and then all of a sudden now it's even more suited to what you like because it's
Yeah.
been altered.
And man, it's funny. I've always seen artists through the years like Knopfler when he had his Pensacheurs and things like they'd be three little dip switches or something they would do different to allow his guitar to be more suited for him. And so when Matt brought that up to me, he said, "Man, what would you do?" And I said, "Shoot, I don't know, man. Why would you even ask?" And he's like, "Because, dude, we have capabilities of bringing the sound in based on your pickups that you would want instead of that standard fourth position." So that is the reason that the Johnny Hiland JH6 Kiesel actually has a Dunlop Super Switch in it, so that we're able to actually get that customized switching system in there.
Yeah, it's definitely unique,
Yes, it is.
and I'm not a fan too much of the fourth position on a Strat either. Um,
Mhm.
it, I don't know, depending on the Strat and maybe the type of amps you're using or something like that. I don't know, it could be a little muddy or something, but I really am enjoying my JH6.
Well,
Um,
thank you. And like I said, I think the amazing thing is when that happened, I actually had a signature Johnny harness with Martin Six String Customs, and we sold a bunch of them because a lot of guys were feeling the same way I was. So I knew that it would be a good fit for this Kiesel, and of course I'm glad it's in there, brother. It's making my life complete now with all five positions being used in what I do. So very happy about that.
we were talking about Summer Nam of 2019 earlier, and I wasn't there for the full thing. I just went for the last day, and which is probably the worst day to just go to Nam because kids and stuff like that.
Public Day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, and so, but anyways, one of my favorite places or people to see, some of my favorite people to see are those from Band in the Box.
Oh, very
And
much. Cool.
and I ran into him again at this past NAMM. I did a video with him, and it's on my channel.
Nice.
Um, I have the 2020 Band in a Box on my PC right now. I'm on my Mac,
Very
and
cool.
it's got a very unique feature that you may know about. There's this artist that's on there named Johnny Hiland.
That man, that what a great opportunity that was, man.
So how did that happen with you getting hooked? Because they've got a studio there in Nashville,
Hmm.
for to do recordings. They've got a guy who goes to New York to does some. They've got a guy over in British Columbia, I think, in Victoria that does some. But how did you get hooked up with the guys from Band in a Box?
Man, that's a funny story. I There's a guitarist in Nashville who is a fantastic jazz player, great guitar player in his own right. But his name's Mike Harrison, and he actually does all the Band in the Box stuff in Nashville. So his studio, I guess you would call the Band in the Box headquarters for Nashville. But he, you know, good friends with Brent Mason and Mike Durham and a lot of the guys I knew in town that I guess a lot of guitar players would say we were in competition with each other, but not necessarily. In fact, I love Brent Mason as he's a dear friend. Mike Durham actually played in my band for a little while, but those are all Band in the Box guys too. And so Mike called one day and offered me a spot to do a Johnny Hiland segment, and I've done a few of them now. I did one in 2018, I think, and then one in at the end of 19 that got released, I think, in 20. But or maybe it did get released sooner. I'm not quite sure. But I can tell you this: it's been a sincere joy to do that, and I think Band in the Box is just a fantastic product, man. To if you're recording from home, to actually have a part of your recording system, it's incredible.
Yeah, I like it so much that the stems that you get from it, I'm actually using on recordings. It's not, I mean, I'll probably put a plug-in or something like that on there, but,
Mm-hmm.
um, I love it. And I was able to um, set up a song. I did a live loop recently on my channel. Now, it wasn't a live video, but a live looping session.
Mm-hmm.
And on there, I was like, well, how can I get this into Band in a Box? Let me see what I can do with Band in a Box. So I typed in all the chord progressions, and then I was like, okay, now let's do some lead guitar, and select Johnny Hiland here and everything, and it populated it for the whole song, and sounds good.
Wow.
So
Well, I'm still amazed at how that works, man. And I have to tell you, I'm not a strong user in it yet. I mean, I've actually been recording my new album here in Camp Highland Studio, and with my vision problem and stuff, dude, I don't really dabble into a lot of technology. And of course, working with Band in a Box is a sincere joy and a blessing to me because they are all amazing people. Here again. But as far as being adept at using Band in a Box, I think I'm going to still need to learn more about that. So you got one up on me there, Clark. That's for sure.
well, Aaron Short Music has just tuned in, and Aaron Short just did a live stream yesterday, I believe, with a guy from Band in a Box, and he not only does he say hi, but he says I agree, and to what he's agreeing, I believe, is the love for Band in a Box.
Oh,
Um,
it truly is.
yeah, it's a really good way well, especially with the real tracks. I mean, when you're talking about MIDI, you get what you get, and you're at the mercy of the software. When you're talking about real, actual guitar recordings or instrument recordings, that's a whole
Yes.
different ballgame.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, there's a lot of learning that I need, to do with that program and dive deep into it and make some more music. And out of all full disclaimer, I'm going to be tinkering with making background music for my videos, for my upcoming
Oh,
videos with it.
yeah.
And I'll email the guys from Band in a Box and talk to them, give them some feedback on it.
Well,
Uh,
Clark, you play 22 instruments, brother. So my new Chatham Sessions record that's coming out this year is me virtually playing every instrument on the record. And so I guess you could say I've never had a quote need for Band in a Box. But then again, the more I find out how sophisticated it is and how awesome it really is, I definitely have to get more involved with it in my own, recording circle and find out how to use it more effectively for myself. Other than just being a part of the Band in a Box family and recording stuff for them, I need to become a user as well. So, but I definitely thank them for making me a part of the family, man, and creating, some guitar stuff for them. It's been so much fun, so rewarding for me, and of course, brother Mike Harrison is that now. He's a brother to me, so I'm very grateful for that.
yeah, Aaron mentions, he says it's a game changer. Talking about Band in a Box. And
Yes.
he says that he tells you hi, and he says that he saw you at CAAS last year. CAS,
Yes, yes, Chet Atkins Appreciation Society. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, well, Aaron,
and
good to have you on here, buddy. It really is. And
yeah,
you tell those Band in the Box boys I love them, man, and I'm thankful for everything.
he says Johnny could play the solo on my next album. Amazing.
Call me up, brother. I got a studio. I'll do it for you.
Um,
And like that brings a good thing to the forefront here, brother. Actually, there's a dear friend of mine that lives about 12 miles from me here in Chatham. His name is Kenny Thurman, and he has done sound for everyone from the Opry to Vince Gill to Mike Henderson and the Blue Bloods to Jamie O'Neill to he's been with Phil Vassar for the last 10 years. He is an amazing engineer, great guitar player, great musician in his own right. But we have been doing tracks for people, especially during this COVID thing. So I'm actually tracking full songs for people, and he's actually doing the mixing. And so if anybody's interested, all you have to do is email me at highland007@comcast.net, and I'd be more than glad to track your song for you. So there you have it.
Full disclosure, though, the Highland007@comcast.net, that is not something that you chose. That's what was assigned to you from Comcast, right?
Absolutely, man. Yeah. And I've had that same email address for a lot of years, man. So
Yeah.
you not choose that. That was what was issued by Comcast. So
Yeah. Aaron commented about his. Earlier he said Johnny could play the solo on my next album. He said he meant with band in a box, but he said, "But I'll call you if you're offering." LOL.
give me a shout, brother. I'd love to meet you over the phone anyway, man, or over email or whatever you'd like.
Yeah. The whole thing about session work, it's amazing some of the collaborations, I think would be a good term, that you could make with stuff like that. Um, so there two things I'd like to ask real quick.
Sure.
What projects? Now I know there's really not too much we can do as far as leaving and playing anywhere, but what projects have you been working on, or are you just finished with?
Well, actually, man, the as you know, Clark, I told you very recently when we did the lesson that my dear friend Mr. Blake Padilla and I put out a Christmas record last year that didn't really get properly released because we were finishing it so close to Christmas. It had a soft release digitally, but of course, I'm going to push that album more this year as we grow closer to the holidays. But I'm also working on a brand new Johnny Hiland project called the Chatham Sessions. That will be a record that's done here in Camp Highland Studio, and every instrument will be played by me. So I'm not only giving my fans just the guitar playing by me, I'm actually giving them all the other instruments too, and putting a lot of heart and soul and love and time and effort and sometimes tears into this because it's it's a labor of love to do a whole album by yourself.
Yeah, and very, very challenging sometimes, especially when keeping up motivation to just keep going, because people who haven't recorded probably don't understand the frustrations that can come with that as well.
Oh yes, I call
Yeah.
them technical snafus.
Yes.
Yes, there can be. Well, and here again, man, I'm going to thank Brother Kenny Thurman too, because literally, Clark, this is the first time in this legally blind guy's life in 45 years, man, that I've been able to record on my own. So when I moved up here to Chatham, Virginia, back at the end of 2018, somehow or another, by the grace of God, man, Kenny called me about a month and a half after I had moved here and said, man, I just found out I live like 12 miles from you. And we started hooking up. Now, granted, we were friends in Nashville, and of course, Kenny had, I've known Kenny for well over 20 years. But living that close, I shared my goal with what I wanted to do for a new Camp Highland studio here. And man, he put together the most perfect, what I call blind guy studio that could ever have happened for me. So I love you, Brother Kenny, and I can't wait for folks to hear this new Chatham Sessions record, brother. It's going to be so much fun for me to release. And of course, I'm actually recording all my drums on a V drum kit. It's not going to sound like your typical Johnny Hiland record. It's going to be, and the reason people say, well, why would you record with a V drum kit? Well, rolling V drums are awesome, one, but number two, old Johnny boy here still lives on musician standard time, so I like to record sometimes at 3:00 in the morning and not have the cops show up. So that's why.
Or have Miss Kimmy mad at you.
Oh boy, look, man, I'm just going to put it out there. Y'all that are married, Kimmy and I just celebrated our 15th year of marriage on April 2nd. And I adore that woman. But one mistake I made was bought her new pots and pans for Christmas. because boy, they hurt. They hurt like no. Get her mad, boy. I'll tell you. No, she's never done that to me. But I will say this: if you're an artist out there or a guitar player who's looking to further themselves in the music business, I'm not discouraging anybody from doing that, but I will let you know it's not all glitz and glamour. It's not all the easiest path at all. It's a lot of hard work. And if it weren't for Miss Kimmy, my sweet darling wife, I don't know how I would have made it through, man. I really don't. So having a significant other is very, very important in keeping all this going and having the support you need to make it through. And also means having the support of the good Lord above too. I am a Christian, and I will tell you, my whole gift of music came from the good Lord above, and so I'm very grateful for that too. So,
you had mentioned the home studio that you've got there.
yes,
Now you do weekly, as of right now, Facebook live streams. I know you're eventually. I think the goal is to move over to YouTube, or
yep.
yeah, to YouTube. But you actually did a live video one time of recording down there. I don't know how long it was. I can't remember.
2 or 3 of them now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's amazing some of the stuff that you can do from home. Um, and it seems like you've got a really good support system between your family and your faith. That's good.
Yes, sir.
The another question that I've got here is you've already mentioned about how people can get a hold of you, but um, is there anything else future wise planned? Obviously, with the limited access to the world, I can understand that, but is there anything else planned for the future for you?
Yeah, man. Actually, I'm working on a new True Fire course, which I'm real excited about. And I'm also writing my autobiography. I'm writing a book on my life, and it's a little bit different, man. It's strange for me to do that because literally I'm still kicking. I'm still going, man, and my career is certainly not over. I know a lot of people, had said to me, "Oh man, Johnny Hiland's leaving Nashville. His career's done." No, guys, my career is not done. In fact, it's this move to Chatham, Virginia, and being more around family and realizing the massive sacrifices I made through the 22 years of being in Nashville and fixing those issues, being around family more, going fishing with dad more, doing things. And of course, I'm referring to Kimmy's dad. I lost my dad in '05. But being around family is a huge, huge thing for me, and Kimmy too. But I guess really, it breathed a new breath into my career. There's a new revitalization in my career right now. And I think really that's stemming from me personally. So working on the end of this book, it was funny, Eric Dahl, my dear friend in Nashville, who works for Fox News, and he's ghostwriting this book for me. And he's like, "Doggone it, Johnny, I'm waiting for you to finish the last chapter." And I'm like, "Man, I just can't finish it. It seems like all this new stuff is happening for me, and I'm just so happy. It's like I don't know where to put a cap on this, man. It's so I think that's really the hardest thing for me, man, is I'm so blessed each and every day that something new comes into my life that I want to write about in my book. So it's like, where do you draw the line and say, okay, this is it, So between the new True Fire course, working on my book, and of course working on the new Chatham Sessions album, with some work on new promotion for the Christmas album this year as well. And of course, working on my YouTube channel. I've got a new YouTube channel, guys, that, my goodness, I think I only have like 305 subscribers right now. So if you would be so kind as to come subscribe, man, I'd really appreciate that. But I've been doing lives every Sunday on Facebook, trying to get more active in social media, because I do feel that is the new wave of the music industry and what you have to do. So honestly, man, with all that stuff going on, brother, I couldn't be a happier guy, along with teaching too. I teach privately and via Skype or FaceTime. And of course, I do let people come to my home for lessons too. But now that COVID-19's happened, I really have stopped all of that. But yeah, so much going on in my life, brother. I have no reason not to be smiling each and every day and just get up with a new vigor. And so I want everyone watching to know my career is far from over. That's for sure.
Would it be fair to say that your social media presence has increased since you moved to Virginia?
Oh my gosh, yeah, yeah. And that's literally from TJ Armstrong, my bass player. The boys in my band are all social media, social media, social media. You come on, Johnny, you ain't done nothing this week. Come on, do something. Go on Instagram, hit Facebook, do something. So they're keeping on me real good about it, man. And I think what that is having a life of people who support you and will not let you rest until you get something done that needs to be done. And so, man, the boys in my band are great for that. My wife is great for that. Brother Kenny is so great with that in helping with the recordings and the things we want to do live, so people can see how to record from home. And so there's just so much going on, Clark. I swear, brother, I don't even know how I have time to breathe, but it's all great fun. It's all for a greater future. And personally, man, music is the biggest thing I have as far as what makes Johnny Hiland tick as a human being. I mean, obviously, it's God first, my sweet wife second, friends and family, and music is actually fourth. But it's still, everyone that knows me knows that Kiesel guitar nowadays, buddy, is always in my hands. It can't stop.
Yeah. So I did it again. I had one of those brain farts. Don't you just love that? All right. So, oh, now I remember. Facebook page, Johnny Hiland Official,
Yes,
is the only Johnny Hiland Official out there because it says Johnny Hiland Official.
that's right.
So if anyone wants to go see Johnny every Sunday at 2
Yeah,
Eastern
yep.
Standard Time, you can go over there, like his page, interact with him. It's gone from, say, I was there from the early times of it a while back, but it's gone from
From
a
the
couple of
start.
dozen to well over, yeah, well, each time, about the 200 people, I guess, about 180 or so. So there's a lot of people in there that are trying to ask questions and everything because that's what it is. It's a Q&A.
Yes.
Um,
Nice.
and
Clark, you can ask any question you want as long as you don't ask my underwear size. I'm not giving that away, brother.
I've seen some people post some pretty pretty interesting questions on there.
Yeah, man, it's been so rewarding and so much fun. But I will say this too, Clark. I really give thanks to the good Lord above for the gift of music in the first place. To my sweet wife for her support. Kimmy is the greatest. But literally, man, it's guys like yourself and everybody watching on here that keeps me doing what I do. Along with the support from Kiesel Guitars and all my other great endorsers, Elixir Strings and Godan Guitars and Fat Jimmy Amplifiers, DestroyAllGuitars.com. I mean, the list is huge, man. But I'm such a blessed man. But it's folks like you guys that keep me doing this every day of my life and enjoying every bit of it. So I actually thank you guys and applaud you guys, man, everyone watching, because it means a lot to me to have folks join me on Facebook and in social media commenting back and saying hello. And because without this kind of support, brother, I certainly couldn't do this. There's no doubt about that.
Unless we forget I guess you'd say fairly recent endorsement from Magslide.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
man. Side folks, here again, very, very family oriented company. Well, they are family owned and just the sweetest people you'd ever want to know, man. So mag slides are made out of magnesium. They're very lightweight. And yes, there is a new Johnny Hiland slide out. And there's also a pinky slide out. So go to playmagslide.com and get you one. They're
yeah,
phone.
yeah. The guys from Magslide were in the Facebook chat this past Sunday,
Oh
and
yeah,
yeah, I went ahead and got one.
good.
So I'm waiting on it to get here. I've never used a slide, so I mean this is all going to be new to me. But
Clark, you're
uh,
gonna have so much fun, buddy. You really are.
yeah, I mean I enjoy playing the heavy stuff, um, but it's good to. I mean, you can really get crazy with a slide with the heavy stuff too. But
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna get into it. I've got some scales to practice and some things to do, and I'm gonna. I'll be making some videos about it too. So,
man, that'd be great.
yeah. So, Hey, do me a favor. I don't want you to ever think that you have to slow down on releasing signature stuff, but every time you do, I seem to buy it.
Oh,
So,
brother, I appreciate that so much, and it just makes me giggle, man, because it's like I said, bud. It's all blessings to me, and of course, the products that I'm working with these days, from my Kiesel guitar to the Mag Slide folks to Elixir strings. I've been with Elixir strings for 20 years.
wow. Now there's a unique reason why you use elixir strings, though, correct?
Oh yes, I have a very very strong acid content in my hands, and buddy, I can kill a normal set of strings in about 20 to 30 minutes. And
Yeah,
so pictures are the only strings these days that, or any time in throughout my life that I found that will last me without making this blind guy change strings 2 or 3 times a day. So,
yeah, it can get costly and not very pleasant, especially on your hands too.
oh
Doing
yeah,
all that.
it can be costly, but it's really rough on you to change your strings 2 or 3 times a day. And on top of that, I have found that elixir strings, man, are just as bad as the acid is in these paws right here, these steak fry fingers. Uh, I can get about 2.5 months out of a set of elixirs, and that's playing about 6 to 8 hours a day.
That's really impressive.
Yes, it truly is. So yeah, my hat's off to the elixir folks, man. I use the old standard 9 to 42 set, and of course it's nanos, polys, optiwebs. Tried them all. They're all amazing. So just if you haven't tried elixir strings yet, you definitely need to.
So, just some quick housekeeping, real quick. First of all, as your wife says, do 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 do.
Oh yeah.
This sweet spot from Keeley Electronics is no longer available. There were 200 of these made. 100 gold, 100 silver. They are sold out right now. So unless you can find one on the used market, they are no longer available. However, Keeley does have a wide range of pedals and everything. I'm not being paid to say this unless Robert wants to hit me up. Hey, so go to RX. Let's see here, Robert Keeley, RKFX.com, and check out what they have in stock. Also, Johnny Hiland, he mentioned that he can be reached at Hiland007 at Comcast.net for
Yep.
inquiries that you have. He does give lessons. Would you mind sharing about the cost for your lessons?
Sure, man. My lessons are $100, and they usually last anywhere between, I'd say 75 to 90 minutes. And of course, but they're a lot of fun. You can record them as long as you don't put them on the internet. Of course, and of course, the reason I say that is the lesson is very uh, individualized.
Hmm.
I teach per the person and what their needs are. And so, yeah, I just ask people not to share them on YouTube or on, the internet. But I love teaching. It's a lot of fun, and I've certainly helped a lot of great folks out there and love to teach you. So, yeah, reach out to me. And
Also, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, buddy. I was just going to mention, yeah, Johnny Hiland Official on Facebook, and of course, I'm on Instagram and Twitter. You can find me there. I also have a website, which is johnnyhiland.net. But of course, it hasn't been updated in a while because my dear friend Chris, that runs that site for me, is works for the government, so he's a pretty busy fellow these days.
Yeah. Also, you have T-shirts for
Yep,
sale.
yep,
So if anyone's interested in a T-shirt, they're 20 in the U.S. They're $25 shipped, I believe.
yep.
Correct? Yeah. And they also come with a bumper sticker.
Yes, they do, man. They're a lot of fun. I wish I had one sitting here,
Yeah,
Mark, but
I've got the shirt over there I can grab here in a second. I don't have the bumper sticker handy because I'm using my Line 6 Helix for this interview, and
yeah,
it's actually on the case for my Helix right now. So
very cool, man.
hang on a second.
Sure.
Okay, so yeah, you can email about these shirts. Here's the front.
Oh yeah, and there's the back. Chicken picking rules, and that's the truth, guys.
So you guys can get those for international orders. Just email highland007@comcast.net for shipping information.
That's right.
Um, is that about that's about it as far as the social presence, I think.
Yes.
Um, and if you would, guys, thank you to the few people who have been watching this whole time. If you've liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Continue to tune in for more interviews like this. Defcon Clark is all about gear tutorials, reviews, and interviews just like this one to help us all learn, grow, and shred. Johnny, if you
Right.
would please hang on for just a minute. And all right, everyone, thanks for tuning in, and you guys take care.
Cheers.